Hey, guess what? It's my birthday. 36 years old. 6th anniversary of my 30th birthday. On the way to 40, halfway to 72, a fourth of the way to 148. Mortality is real, you know, time spares no one. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Birthday quiche. Today at Café Gabe. Birthday quiche. Now I know a few of you might have a question. What makes it a birthday quiche? Why a birthday quiche? Are you gonna make like a cake and call it? No, hear me out. When I was just a lowercase g, my mother, every year for like maybe the majority of my teenage years, would make me a quiche on my birthday, a breakfast quiche, and I loved it. You know, very traditional-esque, bacon, cheese, eggs, you know, a pie crust, you know, very classic quiche, and I look forward to it every year. Now that I'm 30, I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and take a step back and a little blast from the past of my own past, right? So, birthday quiche. Now we're gonna make a few changes today to what I had growing up. We're gonna actually make it a scone crust based off of my scone recipe. And we're going to add turkey sausage instead of bacon. You know, I mean, you could change up whatever you want in that regard. The eggs and the cream is kind of the most important part. I guess there's probably an upper limit to how much you want to add to the quiche mix-ins, just to keep it shape, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. So, a turkey sausage and cheese breakfast quiche with a nice scone crust. We're gonna go ahead and start with our scone crust because it does need to sit in the fridge. If you remember the scone video, all that butter, any kind of pastry crust like that, all that butter we've got mixed in there. We don't want it to melt any sooner than it gets into the oven. We want it to, that's gonna help us keep it nice and flaky, right? So I have all of my dry ingredients here. My flour and my baking powder are already mixed. I have my nice seasoned blend, my smoked salt, my paprika, black pepper, and garlic powder, and my sugar, which we added to the savory one as well. With the sweet one, we added way more. We're gonna go ahead and mix all of our dry ingredients together before we grate in that frozen butter that we need. So, take my stuff, just pouring it in, beautiful. Grab myself a nice whisk. Not too rough or you're gonna make a big mess. Use the bigger bowl. I used what I needed a glass bowl so y'all could see what I was doing, but don't mix too crazily, but do mix it in there. Now, one key difference this recipe has from my actual scone recipe is that I've cut the baking powder in half. And the reason I've done that is because when I was testing this recipe, the crust came out great, but it rose, you know, in the oven when I blind baked the crust, which we're gonna do together, it almost rose straight up level, right? We need to have a pie crust, which has a bit of an indentation. Even with the pie weight that I used, it still rose. So we don't want that to happen. And I think the best way of avoiding that is going to be just cutting some of that baking powder out. We don't need it to be a super fluffy in that regard. It's a pie crust. But I think here we are good. So let me go ahead and get ourselves ready to grate in our butter. Okay, not gonna lie, I don't like this part. I find it kind of messy, but it's gotta get done. So we're gonna get through this together. I have my grater, good size grater here. I'm gonna pile it over my dough and delicately with my frozen butter, just grate it in, right? So I'm gonna try to use as little contact as I can with the butter because we don't want our body heat to melt it, to warm it up any more than it has to be. All right, and guys, there's no way getting around it, just get in there. So here we go. You're probably gonna get butter everywhere. Don't, you know, just kind of own it. Own it. Getting to the end. Be careful when you get to the end. Obviously, it's not worth grating off any of your skin. Not the secret ingredient we want. When you get to the very last little bit, kind of the nub of the butter, just throw it in there. With the pastry cutter, it'll mix in, it's fine. See, I've got this little bit here. I'm gonna just pop it in there. So, I'll try to be sure I'm getting it all out of here. As I hope you can see, I've got a lot that's kind of sticking to the other side of the grater. So just try to delicately get it all out with your very clean hands. I'm gonna use a pastry cutter because it is easier, but you can just as easily use forks or your fingertips. I've been told as well, that sounds horrible, but apparently it works. I think we have the majority of it out. Yeah, I'd say we're 99% in the bowl. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this, oh, I made a huge mess on the counter too. Okay, avoid the mess, ignore the mess. Gonna get in here and just start mixing. And what you can see is I'm kind of like in the scone video, nice rocking motion with my pastry cutter. I just kind of want all the butter incorporated into little pea-sized shapes. And so you gotta get your finger and just trace over the back of the pastry cutter. I'm gonna take a pastry scraper and just kind of get some of this flour back. Good enough. Okay, and I think that's good. Let me bring it to this camera so you all can see what I'm talking about. Yeah. Nice little bits of butter coating in flour. We are good there, guys. Okay. The next step is gonna be adding in our wet ingredients. That's our heavy cream and our egg. Got my egg there. Let's go ahead and get our heavy cream. Before I mix it in though, I'm gonna give it a little whisk just to incorporate them slightly together before I pour it into our dry ingredients. I'd say that's good. Yeah. So, I'm gonna just pour this in. Try to get all of it out of the bowl as much as we can. And now with my wooden spoon, start mixing. This is a kind of sticky dough for a while, and we're gonna turn this out onto the work surface here in a minute, but for right now, let's just make ourselves a shaggy dough. Now just for knowledge, as we do this, particularly once we have it kneading it with our hands on the work surface, if it seems a little too dry, add like half a tablespoon of cream. If it seems too wet, add half a tablespoon of flour. And we're gonna go from there. But for right now, I like how this is turning out. And I'm going to scrape off my spoon, flour my work surface, turn this out. There we go. Try to get in there, get all the stuff, and just start kind of compiling this just like we did on the scone video. No, we don't want to do it for too long. Just want it to come together. Again, we don't want to really melt the butter too much. With our body heat, with the warmth of our hands, I got big old man hands, and my hands can be kind of warm, so don't want to risk that. Now, if you're wondering how to tell if it's too dry, I would argue if it's flaking off in layers as you need it consistently after a while, just give it like a splash of cream. Obviously, conversely, if it's too wet, it's gonna be sticky as all hell. Add a little more flour, maybe even a sprinkle on the work surface and try kneading it in, a sprinkle a little on top, try kneading it in. Don't dump it in, anything like that. Small increments, no more than a tablespoon at a time. And even that, I would say half a tablespoon is fine. But this actually seems pretty good to me. Okay, I like this. Give you all a close up. Not bad. Not too shabby. I think this will be just fine. So what we're gonna do is gonna wrap it in saran wrap. I'm just using saran wrap because that's what I have. So, va-va-voom. Go ahead, wrap that up. I'm gonna let this sit and chill in the fridge for about half an hour. In that time, I will get my oven preheated to 350. We do wanna blind bake this for about 20 minutes. 30 minutes in the fridge, here we go. Crust is in the oven, blind baking. We can start with our egg mix. I've got my eggs here, my cream, I've got my cooked cup of turkey sausage, some green onion, and a good Mexican blend of cheese. So let's start with our eggs. We need 3 eggs and 3 whites. Now, I'm doing the eggshell method. You can just put it through your fingers, get a strainer. I mean, this is just how I've always done my egg whites. And it works for me, beautiful. Okay, got our eggs in. Let's throw in our half cup of cream. So as you can probably tell by now, cream in the crust, there's cream in the eggs, there's butter everywhere. It's a birthday dish, so we're gonna just ignore the macros for today and enjoy the meal, right? I have got some diced green onion. What would this be? Maybe 1/8 of a cup, 1/4 of a cup. You can just throw that in right here. As well as my turkey sausage, throwing it in. And I'm gonna whisk this together now, then I'll add my cheese and whisk that in as well. A nice solid whisk. I'm gonna guesstimate a half a cup of shredded cheese. I'm not that worried about it, but we'll say that's about a quarter of a cup. And that's about a quarter more. So half a thing of shredded, in this case Mexican style, whatever that means, cheese. Whisk that together as well. And okay, this is ready. We're gonna give the crust the rest of its time, probably another 5 or 10 minutes to finish this blind bake. Pour it in, throw it back in the oven. We do need to increase the oven temperature to 375 when we put it in with the egg mixture, the whole quiche being done, right? So I might, once I hear the timer go off, I'll hit 375, pour it in. Once it tells me it's ready, we'll pop it back 30 minutes. We'll have some quiche, guys. We're gonna just go ahead, give it some time. Okay, went ahead, took the crust out, and you can see kind of what I'm talking about earlier. The middle crust, because my pie weights aren't super heavy, did rise a bit more than I wanted. Easy fix. Took a spatula, pressed it down, kind of smoothed out the walls, made it a bit more angular in that way, a nice well for when the time comes to pour in my egg mix. This is pretty hot still, so gonna use my towel, throw it in, guys. I've got the oven already going at 375. Gonna pop it in for 30 minutes, bring it out, and it's gonna be magical, I promise you. So, here we go. Let's throw that bad boy down. Oh yes. Oh yes, guys. This looks perfect. Nice, soft to the touch, but cooked, no wobble, no jiggle, so we know that it's set. I am gonna let this sit for about 10 more minutes just to cool off, but I am also gonna open the spring form. So, let me see here. Ouch. Okay, 3, 2, 1, hi! Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are good. Look at that beauty. Perfect, you know, about an inch thick crust, relatively even. Heck yes, guys. Again, I'm gonna let this sit for a bit. We'll cut, we'll plate, we'll enjoy. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. I want to try to get underneath this jazz as best I can and just lift up one side. Yeah, now again, the beauty of this crust having so much butter, I didn't bother to grease the bottom of this springform pan. It's probably got a little nonstick on it too, but guys, it just slides right off. Let me grab a towel here. And you know what, to hell with it, guys. We're gonna try those asbestos fingers and see if it's a real thing. It's not. Get under here, bring it over the plate, slide it off. Oh yes, ow! A near flawless dismount of the quiche. What a gorgeous bab. Ooh, it's heavy, as you might imagine. Goodness me, guys, that looks fantastic. Let's go ahead, try our hand at cutting a piece. Gonna just use a butter knife. Don't need anything super sharp for this. Cut down from the middle. I always forget that I'm left-handed. Gosh darn it. I'm gonna cut myself a super big piece, but definitely need something that I can, check this camera. Yes. Yes, look at that. Oh my gosh. It's almost perfectly set. Probably could have cooked it in maybe another 2 or 3 minutes in the oven, but guys, totally fine. It'll solidify more with time. Oh my gosh, guys, I gotta get some quick pictures. We'll do our taste test. We'll be done. I might eat this whole damn thing tonight. We're gonna see. Here we go. All right, guys, taste test. I was gonna use a fork and a knife, but honestly, check this stuff out. I can just grab that sucker, enjoy myself a nice piece of quiche. Come on, focus on the quiche. Yeah, Yeah. So, guys, let's give it a shot. The egg is so soft. It's just cooked. Just cooked. Not runny or anything. Nothing like that, but it isn't overly dry or crumbly. It's super silky, super smooth. The turkey sausage is a great flavor. Again, if you like savory, savory breakfast meats, I did a breakfast turkey sausage. You can do it with pork, do it with bacon. You probably just do it with like diced ham. Go meatless, that's also totally fine. It is a flavor that I enjoy. It takes me back to my youth. Come on. Oh yes. Now you can see here that little wedge shape in the crust. I was trying to avoid that. I think it might just be kind of part of cost of doing business, so to speak. But this came out perfect. The best I've ever made. Oh my gosh. Well guys, as always, thank you so much for coming to Café Gabe. Hey, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I've got new recipes coming out. I'm back in the OG kitchen, guys. This is home base, day one, full circle. Ashes to ashes. And hey, if you tried the recipe and you liked it, please like the video. It definitely helps us out a bunch, helps us grow as a community. If you have any questions for me, comments, concerns, ideas, let me know what you changed. Could you make it more of like a lunch, brunch? Absolutely. It is a breakfast-y, brunchy approximation of a recipe. Do with it what you will. I would love to see some creative ideas, guys. Post them in the comments. I would love to hear it. But guys, nothing else. Thank you so much for coming to Café Gabe. Use the bigger bowl and stay hungry for me. Adios.